Hey guys, it's me, Sujoy. Uh, so I'm back with another video. It's been a while I haven't posted. I'm right now here in India. I'm visiting my father who has just come from the States, from the US. He's a green card, and so I just thought of coming and visiting him. I haven't seen him for 1.5 years now because he was in the US, and so he's going to be here in India for a few months, and then he's going to be flying back to the States. I'm right now here in India, and this is my home, and yeah, so I'm in my living room over here. I don't know if you can see my lampshade. Okay, so maybe I'll try to change the setting a bit different next time. So yeah, it's just taking a bit of break right now from Southeast Asia. It's just good to be back home and spending time with my dad and just learning from each other because like family time is also very important for me. So yeah, it's just like relaxing, refreshing myself. So yeah, I just want to talk about a specific topic over here. Most of like most many Indians, I'm originally from India. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Sujoy. Name of my channel is Sujoy in Vietnam. I've been living in Vietnam for over 5 years now. I was an English teacher there for 3.5 years, and now I run my online business, and I'm also doing full time YouTube. So, I've come over here back home to India, but like I just want to talk about a specific topic, and of course, if you're an Indian, if you're a sensitive person, then I don't think you should watch this video. But if you're an open-minded Indian person, if you're an open-minded person, then by all means, you can watch this video. Like many Indians, like when we travel overseas, there are accounts of racism, and we kind of document that. We try to share our own experiences, which predominantly does happen in Southeast Asia. I mean, especially if you're in Thailand or if you're like in Vietnam, you may feel that kind of subtle racism, discrimination. But today I'm going to be talking about racism. Is there racism in India? Okay, so I'm going to be talking about like, so I'm going to be going to my own backyard. Be talking about, is there racism in India? So before I do that, let me just have a bit of chill water. Here in India, we try to use a lot of steel cups. It keeps it keeps the water very chilled. So yeah, yeah, definitely. It's good to be back home, spending time with my dad. So yeah, coming back to the topic, is there racism in India? So I'm going to be talking from my perspective. I'm an Indian, okay, and I'm an Indian national. And I'm not a foreigner, but I'm an Indian. But I can tell you is that from my personal experience, yes, I have faced racism here in India, and it's still kind of it still happens to me sometimes. But um, I'll give you some classic example. Like for example, the first one would be looks and appearance. Okay, now firstly, in India, people are very crazy about having a fair skin. Like skin color is very important. Having a very fair skin, using a lot of these face wash creams, lotions. Like all this fair and lovely and all that stuff. Um, like most of the advertisements, which you see out here in India in all these Indian TV channels, like you'll see all these, face creams, lotions, advertised for men, for women to become fair, to have a fair skin. it's just like, it's like brainwashing the society. Like, you should, if you have a fair skin, you will be treated well. If you have dark brown skin, then maybe, if you are going out in the society, or if you're going to a nice fancy restaurant, and if you have black skin or if you have a dark brown skin, you may not get a good treatment or whatever. I mean, like, I got dark brown skin. I love my skin, and I would not change a dime for it. And like in India, we have, it's a big country. It's a huge population. We have people with different skin colors. And I get this a lot. When I'm in Southeast Asia, like some people, tell me in Thailand or in Vietnam, you don't look Indian. You don't look like other Indians or whatever it is. So I mean, that's so strange, because like India is a big country, like there are a lot of different Indian people with different skin color. But anyway, coming back to my country, like in India, looks is very important. Appearance is also very important. Like, are you a good looking person? Like most of these Indian weddings, like, most of these Indian girls, like they try to look for, they keep their standards very high. They try to look for somebody, who looks like a Bollywood actor, or who has got good features and all that. I mean, a classic example would be is that, how I was judged actually is that, I mean, I don't feel bad about it, but this happened to me a few years back in India. I was here in McDonald's, in my city, and I was just waiting for my burger here in McDonald's, India, and I have a sharp nose, and I have a sharp pointing nose. My nose is very sharp. My features are a bit different, and a couple of these young college girls, they looked at me. They were chatting them among themselves, and they said, this he looks like a Pakistani. ये Pakistani दिखता है. It's happened to me a couple of times, like even, once I walked around the streets here in my city, in India, and some guys, they just commented, like, he looks like a Pakistani, ye Pakistani dikhta hai. So those kind of subtle remarks, those kind of direct remarks, of course, it's a form of racism. So yeah, I mean, looks, appearance definitely matters a lot here in India, and especially, like most of these news channels which you watch out here in India, these Indian news channels, majority of all these news anchors, these girls, these guys, they all look very fair. Either they put up a lot of makeup, or they're very fair. They have like these very fair skin. I have not seen a single TV anchor here in the news channel who has dark brown skin. Having dark brown skin is not a crime. I mean, it's like, you should not judge a person by the skin color, but by, like, what kind of a person he or she is, by nature, by heart. But the problem over here is, like, people may judge you fast because of your skin color. So maybe it's come from the British rulings back in the old times, when the Britishers were here in India. But I think the mindset should change over here for sure. So yeah, I covered the looks, appearance, skin tone. I've got my notes over here. Yeah, the social stigma. Okay, the social stigma attached to it. Like, even like if you're looking out for jobs here in India, like, most of the employers, they like to look for an employee, for a candidate, who looks good, who looks, who looks like, who has a good appearance and all that kind of stuff. Uh, yeah, I think that all needs to change, because like I said, you should not judge a human being based on the color of his or her skin, but the kind of talent, and skill he or she brings to the corporate organizations here in India. So yeah, I mean, sadly, that's the social stigma which is attached, and even for the matchmaking sites over here, or the weddings, the marriages, or the Indian girl, she wants to have an Indian boyfriend, but her standards are very high. She's looking for a Bollywood actor, or she's looking for a guy who needs to be tall. This another thing over here is that majority of the Indian girls over here, they want tall guys. I think I'm 5 feet 8. I'm pretty normal heighted, but or maybe I'm 5 feet 9, but I really don't care. But it's just that it's sad to see that majority of the Indian girls over here in India, they want boyfriends who are very tall. They don't want to date a guy who is like equal her height or a bit shorter. And this craze which most of the Indian men have over here is that, well, I got to buy these height growing pills, these long looks, which I used to take when I was back in the college. It never helped, and they have significant amount of side effects if you take these height growing pills. Ordering it from Amazon, this craze. I got to be tall. There's another bullshit which we have over here is, oh, he's tall, he's handsome, he's the perfect Indian, or my boyfriend needs to be tall, my husband needs to be tall and handsome. Like, why are we comparing it with Bollywood? I mean, what is Bollywood bringing all this stereotypical thoughts to all us Indians over here? Like, is that how Bollywood is shaping us up? I thought Bollywood was meant for entertainment. Like, oh, like my boyfriend needs to be very tall, my husband needs to be taller than me. He needs to be well built. He has to have six pack muscles. That's all secondary, and I mean that's really not important. So yeah, I mean, sadly, looks, appearance, skin tone, these are all attached here. These are the social stigmas which we have out here. Which I think really needs to change. Because you should not. There's so many good Indian people out here. Like they are very kind-hearted. They have a lot of skills. They're not very tall. They're not very handsome. They don't have fair skin. And the problem with the society over here is we judge them very fast. Oh, he's ugly. Oh, she's ugly. I don't want to talk to her. So these kind of social stigmas should be banned, and the media over here in India should definitely create this awareness, and stop publicizing all these fairness skins, and selling all these height growing supplements on Amazon and all those kind of things. That's really stupid. Yeah, all right. So the other one is materialism. Okay, so compared to if I compare it with Vietnam and India, definitely India is a very materialistic society. Of course, Thailand, yes, there's a lot of materialism. Everybody's got an iPhone over there, like iPhone 15s and all that, which is also over here in India now. But I think materialism is put a lot of emphasis over here in the Indian society. Like, oh, I got to buy a nice car. Oh, that car is coming up. I'm going to spend a lot of money to buy that car. Or I'm not going to buy a lot of grocery, but I'm going to buy the latest iPhone. I'm going to be, like, I'm going to take a lot of bank loan. I'm going to buy the latest iPhone. I'm going to go to Starbucks in India, or I'm going to go to a coffee shop, or and I'm going to show my iPhone to people, like, oh, look, I'm a classy Indian. I got my Gucci bag on. So a lot of things are, that's pretty irrelevant. It's really irrelevant. Like, they feel like, oh, if I got an iPhone, latest iPhone, I'll be treated like a king or queen here if I go to Starbucks, or if I go to any restaurant here, or if I'm going to be traveling around, if I go to the international airports here in India. They'll like, oh, this guy's got an iPhone, all right, so be don't treat that person, don't treat him poorly or something like that. Or something like, if she's got an iPhone 15, then and if I don't have an iPhone and if I have a very simple basic phone, I cannot go and talk to her, because she will feel like, oh, who's this guy? He's dressed very simple, he's not my standard. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, the materialism, and of course the customer service, which is also attached with all this materialism and all that stuff. So I'm going to be making a separate video about that. So yeah, I don't want to keep it very long. So yeah, moving forward, Because like you will see that record number of Indians, they have left the country, they're settling abroad, for a better life. Because yeah, I mean, living in India is very challenging. I mean, of course, the hustle and bustle, and the stress, and so I mean, like everyday challenges. The rudeness, like spitting on the streets and all that, unhygienic conditions. But whatever it is, so it's just like it's like a two world face, where you have a lot of rapid development, but on the other hand, you got a lot of potholes. And I don't want to get into that, but what I just want to focus on this, like the racism factor here in India. So I think moving forward, I think the mindset of the Indian society over here needs to change big time. They need to be more aware. Don't judge a person by the skin color or how the person looks, or if he or she's ugly or has a sharp nose, or is that guy looking like a Pakistani, or is she from Afghanistani, or whatever it is. Change these fucking mindsets. I mean, grow up. Like this is the 21st century. We are approaching 2024. So we want the Indian society to be more educated, more open minded. And of course, if you're going to keep this kind of a mindset and travel overseas, you would become a very big failure. So, and you will not never be successful in life. So if you want to be successful in life, and you got to change your mindset, and you got to be very open-minded about this. So don't judge a person by looks, appearance, skin color, or whatever it is. Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, so if you are looking to start a successful online business, here in India, or if you're traveling around in Southeast Asia, then I highly recommend you subscribe to my income list. So I'm going to keep a link down in the description below. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to comment. I like productive discussions. Um, yeah, so I'm just out here back home in India, spending time with my dad, who's come from the U.S. So with that being said, you guys have a great day. This was me, Sujoy. Peace out.